Before we dive in, a quick disclaimer. Although we are therapists, this podcast is not therapy and does not replace working with your own therapist. Everything shared here is for general education and conversation only.
Welcome to Two Anxious Girls. I am Dabi.
And I'm Christina.
And we are two therapists who spend 40 hours a week helping people navigate their lives and the other 128 hours wondering if we're doing ours completely wrong. That is us.
So before we spiral, let's say professionally, how is your anxiety doing this week, Dabi?
Honestly, this week, my anxiety has been thriving. Absolutely thriving.
I love that for her.
Yeah. How is yours?
You know when someone doesn't respond to a text for, 2 hours and your brain is like, well, this relationship is officially over?
Yes. And that is our topic for today. Today, we're talking about anxious attachment, but not the academic textbook way.
Yeah, we're talking about what it actually feels like in real life.
Yes, the overthinking text, which we are all guilty of. The fear someone is secretly mad at you.
Always.
Yep, that has happened. The urge to ask, are you sure we're okay? 1,000,000 times.
And most importantly, what healing from anxious attachment actually looks like. Because, spoiler alert, it does not mean you magically become a chill person.
Yeah, becoming a chill person doesn't happen overnight, but I am very excited about this episode for this reason, because we do want to give some very tangible tips as to what to practice when you are experiencing an anxious attachment, which many individuals do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what will our spiraling segment look like today?
It will start with, we just had a break.
It's okay. We lose our thought. Thought.
That was so weird. I truly just had like a brain fart. Sorry. Let's start with the spiral, because if you have anxious attachments, the spiral is probably familiar.
So imagine this scenario. You send someone a message. We're all guilty of.
Yep.
Maybe it's your partner, maybe it's someone you're dating, or even a friend, and then we get nothing.
And 5 minutes go by.
Then 20 minutes go by.
And then you check to see the message was read. I always will swipe. You know how you can swipe and see the time?
Yeah.
So I count how many minutes have passed.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And then you start wondering if you said something wrong.
Yeah. And then your brain starts reviewing the last 10 conversations with that same person.
Yeah. And suddenly you've decided that they're mad at you, they're pulling away, and the relationship is probably ending. The friendship is over.
Yeah. And then you know what? They'll say, sorry, I was in a meeting.
Exactly. Or simply busy. So what is anxious attachment? Think of anxious attachment as having hypersensitive relational radar. If you have an anxious attachment style, you likely value intimacy very deeply, but you also spend a significant amount of energy worrying about the temperature of your relationships. And therefore, anxious attachment often shows up as hyper-awareness in relationships. You notice the tone changes, the response time changes, the energy shifts.
Yeah. And your brain interprets those things as danger. And not because you're dramatic, but because your nervous system is wired to be very sensitive to connection and disconnection.
And that can lead to behaviors like overthinking text messages, needing reassurance a little too much, worrying someone will leave you, or feeling like you are too much.
Wow. I don't
Yeah.
think I ever realized maybe I'm anxiously attached.
So you do not have an anxious attachment, Christina.
Not that and hey, it's not a bad thing. I'm just, I'm sitting here listening to us talking. I'm like, anyway.
Yeah.
But the exhausting part is that most people with this anxious attachment are incredibly self-aware, aka me. They often know they're overthinking, but the feeling still feels really real. So, with that being said, let's jump into the therapy insights. Let's talk about what anxious attachment actually is. In simple terms, it's a relational pattern where someone deeply values connection, but also at the same time has a true fear of losing it.
Yes. And that can lead to a lot of internal questions like, do they still like me? Did I do something wrong? Why are they pulling away?
Yeah. And often this pattern will develop earlier on in life when connection felt inconsistent or unpredictable. Not necessarily bad parenting, it's just inconsistency.
Yes, which is why small moments of uncertainty can feel like very big emotionally. Your nervous system learns something like connection is really important, but it might disappear.
Mhm. Yeah. And one of the most common things we see in therapy is that reassurance seeking, asking things like, "Are you mad at me? Are we okay? Do you still love me?" And reassurance works, but it's temporary.
Mhm.
But the relief usually fades quickly, which leads to needing that reassurance over and over and over again.
Yes. So, what healing actually looks like? Because this is where people often get discouraged.
Mhm.
Healing does not mean you stop caring deeply about relationships.
Yeah, absolutely not. It doesn't mean your brain never spirals again, right? It looks more like noticing when your attachment system is activated or pausing before reacting or asking those questions, communicating your needs more directly, even trying to build that internal reassurance for yourself.
Yes. For example, instead of sending 3 follow-up text messages, you might just want to say something like, "Hey, when I don't hear back from you, sometimes I start to overthink. I just wanted to share that." So
Mhm.
just being more direct and honest and letting know how you are feeling at the moment.
Yeah. And just being, it sounds like being more vulnerable compared to a little more panicky. And over time, that creates safer relationship dynamics.
Yes. Healing anxious attachment is really about learning that connection can be stable even when there is temporary distance.
Hmm.
And that is what we're seeking, stability.
Hmm. It's all we can ask for.
Yes, indeed. That's what we're thriving for, emotional stability.
Yeah. So I guess if before we get into guilty pleasures, if
Mhm.
this speaks to you, again, our goal is to know that you are not alone.
Yes, you're not alone. And it's very normal nowadays, especially with technology, with the text messages, with
Hmm.
all the social apps
Hmm.
that you send messages to someone doesn't answer immediately, and you start to spiral. And you might start thinking about worst case scenario that the person doesn't like you anymore. That's not necessarily the case. And if there are individuals that you notice those patterns that they are pulling away or they don't respond to your text messages, just be direct and share how you're feeling.
Yeah.
That's
That
it.
social media is a big one, Dami. Because you know what's funny? My uncle, who is what, 86, he always will tell me that him and my aunt,
Mhm.
they didn't have phones. So they would write each other letters. They would walk to each other's houses. So you're on something. Social media is really correlated with anxious attachments these days.
Absolutely, because we are used to instant gratification since the early 2000s. And before that, that was not the case. Yes, people had to walk to other people's homes,
Imagine.
send letters, and wait 3, 4, 5 days or a whole week or month for a response.
That's so romantic.
It is so oh, the notebook.
Yeah. Maybe that could be your guilty pleasure watching that.
Oh, yes, to rewatch the notebook. Oh, but then it makes me cry so
Yeah.
much.
Me too. All right.
Okay, let's transition into our
Sorry.
favorite segment,
Yeah.
our anxiety wins and guilty pleasures of the week.
Yes. What was yours this week?
Yes, my anxiety win this week is again, I've been meditating more
Mhm.
and Headspace has become my best friend.
Mm.
This is not a sponsored ad or anything, but Headspace has been really helping me. I try to meditate at least for a couple of minutes, at least a minimum of 10 minutes a day.
Mhm.
And I have truly noticed a shift in my mood. I feel better regulated. I am spiraling less. I know I'm saying that every week,
No, it's important.
but right now I am very, very anxious about future things. So I
Yeah.
just really need to ground myself and stay present.
Yeah.
That's my goal. And that is my anxiety win.
Nice.
What is yours?
My anxiety win is that I didn't reread a text conversation 17 times. I probably I probably read it maybe 4 or 5.
Okay, that is progress.
Thank you.
Yeah. And what was your guilty pleasure this week?
My guilty pleasure was watching reality TV. To be more specific, Love is Blind. The reunion came out, and it was the 10-year reunion, and let me tell you, usually I hate watching the reunions, but this was good.
Really?
There was some good tea. So, I watched that while writing notes at the same time.
Mm.
So that was fun.
I love that,
Thank
and I am right there with you.
Yeah, what was your guilty pleasure?
Well, that was mine too. I truly love the contrast between the focus required for clinical notes and the complete dissociation of watching mindless television.
Mhm,
It's very calming.
mhm. They go hand in hand.
They really do. And sometimes people don't get it, but we need to dissociate a little bit. A healthy dose of dissociation is good.
Mhm.
And reality TV does that for us.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, if you listen to this episode and recognize yourself, like me, maybe, we want you to know something important. Having an anxious attachment style does not mean you are broken.
Absolutely not. It usually means you care deeply about connection and about the relationship.
Yeah.
And that is not a flaw.
No, the goal is not to become emotionally detached. We do not want that. It is to build relationships where connection feels more safe and more steady.
And to learn how to calm your nervous system when your brain starts writing a breakup story or an unanswered text, just pay attention to the narratives that you create in your mind. And that I'm saying it with an exclamation point because
Yeah,
we could really spiral very quickly with all these narratives that we create.
truly. So, with that, thank you for spiraling with us today.
Oh, couldn't have said it better. And as always, take care of your mind, be gentle with yourself, and we will see you next time.
No homework.
No homework. Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Bye.